Hello Internet and welcome to this day in history for the 27th of September. 27th of September is one of those days where it's very difficult to choose which thing to talk about because a lot of very interesting stuff have happened. However, we are going to go back to 1066 and pick the, shall we say, first of those things, or the earliest of those things that are sort of really important. Namely, this was the day upon which William the Bastard, Duke of Normandy, put his troops aboard sailing vessels and took them to Britain with the intention of making himself King of England, because he felt he was just the guy for that job. Of course, there was at the time several other people who also felt they were just the guy to hold down that job, but fortunately for William, they spent a lot of time fighting each other, so that later in the year, at the Battle of Hastings, well, again, I don't need to go very much into detail about all this thing. Everyone knows what happens. William conquered England, became King of England, and established the line of monarchs that still, one way or another, holds the throne today under Elizabeth, creating an entirely new culture on the British Isles, starting with England and eventually, shall we say, moving into Ireland and Scotland, Wales, and so on. Another interesting thing about this particular happenstance is, of course, that at the same time it marked the ending of the Viking era, while also putting the descendant of Danish kings through his ancestor Rollo on the throne of England, which the Vikings had, of course, basically tried to conquer one way or another for 300 years prior to this whole affair. So yeah, that is, I suppose, to a certain degree, the definition of irony. What this also marks, of course, is the last time the British Isles have been successfully invaded by a foreign power solely by force of arms. Of course, I am cheating a little bit because Ireland has had it happen several times after this, but let's say the primary British Isle has been invaded forcefully by a foreign power solely by force of arms. Considering the fact we're moving up to 1,000 years ago since this, that is actually quite a prominent feature and shows just how important La Manche actually is to British defense, despite it being only a couple of miles above 20 wide. Anyway, there isn't really all that much to say on this subject. One day I might do a full video about the Battle of Hastings and the Norman invasion of Britain, but for now I hope this has been interesting. This day in history on the 27th of September, the day William the Conqueror shipped his army over to England and took over the Anglo world from, well, the Anglians. Until next time, I have been the Sage, and I wish you all a very happy day.